Okay, we have our first real trade of the deadline. Vooch is going to the Bulls. I don't think anybody saw this one coming. Al-Farouq Amino is going to Chicago with him. The big thing is Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, and 2 firsts are going to the Magic. I mean, Wendell Carter, he didn't end up becoming the defensive guy that I guess people thought of him, but I didn't think the Bulls were just going to give up on him this quickly. But, restricted free agency is not too far away with him, and now Chicago is going for more of a try to win right now sort of thing, and from an offensive standpoint, Vooch is certainly going to do that for them. These 2 picks are very interesting, though. And we'll get to the Wendell with the Magic, because that's interesting too, but, the Bulls are a borderline playoff team right now, so to give up 2 picks, at the moment, I haven't seen the protections on it, but there's got to be protections. There's no way that these are going to be unprotected, and we'll have to see the exact years they're spread out, but 2 picks is a lot of picks for a team that is not guaranteed a playoff spot. But, in Chicago's mind, they're going to say to themselves, Vooch will secure us a playoff berth for the foreseeable future. And look, now they have 2 real 20-point scorers. LaVine and Vooch, and you think about the way those 2 can play off of each other. And we'll see if the Bulls end up making another move today. But, you think about the obvious one is LaVine, Vooch, pick and rolls. Yeah, LaVine's not the best playmaker in the world, but he's not bad. And when you think about Vooch popping or Vooch rolling off of those types of scenarios, that makes a lot of sense. There's also just Vooch post-ups. How often? I don't think the Bulls have had another thing to go to a lot of the time besides LaVine bail us out. You move the offense around. It's swing offense. It's, Kobe White and some off-ball action, but none of that was super reliable, especially because Markkanen has not been the best offensive player. Sometimes he is, a lot of the times not so much. Also, what's going to happen with Markkanen after this move? We're going to have to see. Does Markkanen and Vooch as a front court make a lot of sense? On offense, if Markkanen's got it going, that they can be really tough to deal with. Defensively, maybe Patrick Williams as the 4 next to Vooch would, be better off for you. I don't know. That's another thing now is Vooch and LaVine together. Now, to give credit to Vooch, defensively the Magic have held up pretty well, not so much this year because they've been hurt, but for the most part, they've held up really well with him as their starting 5. So, clearly you can have a good defense with him, but him and LaVine now, that means the other 3 guys are going to have to be pretty damn good on defense. And you look at it right now, it's, Patrick Williams, who I think has potential to be very good on defense. You've got, Kobe White at the moment, not much of a defender. Satoransky, a little better of a defender. And then you got Markkanen still sitting there, and that's kind of a little awkward, so we're going to have to see. But the play here for Chicago is, of course, bolstering their offense and assuming that they can still be basically the same defensive team, which has been about mid-tier. They've been about a mid-tier offense and defensive team, and if you can bolster the offense and not take a hit on defense, well, suddenly you can become a very good team. But still, they better be good after this, because giving up 2 picks when you are currently 19-24, again, we're going to have to see the exact protections and the exact years on those that have not come out at the moment, but that's a risk no matter which way you want to slice it. Now, for the Magic's sake, I guess we saw what it would take for them to get off of Vooch. It was going to be a wing player in Porter, who at times has been good, a young center in Wendell, who, when he came into the league, looked like a really good defensive 5, and since then it hasn't totally clicked, but I think you can blame some of that on Boylan, of course, and, sometimes it just takes big guys a minute. Wendell has also had a decent amount of injuries in his career, which, at the same time, Orlando has to take into account when they're thinking about moving Vooch. But, for Wendell in Orlando, now similar to what I said with the Bulls, he's got restricted free agency coming up, and they're going to have to pay him. But you have a guy who, in theory, can be way better defensively than Vooch has ever been, and be someone who can protect the rim, defend the post, be a good rebounder for you, and just be the foundation of a defense. And then on offense, you would hope that Wendell's shooting can look better than it did earlier this season, and he can develop the post game himself, and roll and pick and pop and be a balanced offensive player. I mean, up to this point, Wendell has just been a guy who he's been cool. When he's been healthy and his confidence has been there, he's been fine. And when you combine that with these 2 firsts, then we're still going to have to see the protections and the years on and all that. I guess that's a good enough return for Vooch. I mean, Orlando, look, they're 15 and 29. Now, personally, I think even if they trade Gordon, trade Fournier, to me, with Isaac coming back, Vooch still there, and then whatever they could have gotten for whoever else they're going to trade, because I'm assuming everybody's gone after Vooch is gone, I feel like they still could have been a good team. And there's nothing wrong with having a good team of some young talent, even if it may have just been Vooch, but you still got Fultz and Cole Anthony, and they were going to draft somebody this offseason, potentially more guys now, depending on what these specifics on these picks are. I feel like that would have made sense going forward. But instead, they're going in the opposite direction. Does this signify if Steve Clifford is going to be gone? I don't know. I mean, he's a coach that you hire to win 45 games, which has been their MO for the past couple years, and maybe this is a sign that they're just okay with being bad for a little longer if it means they're better in the long run. I mean, Isaac's injury, depending on Isaac's timeline, that might screw them out of next season anyway. And at that point, I think Vooch would only have 1 year left in his contract. So, okay, I guess that's the idea. And of course, they have to feel that they can build up Wendell, and if he's healthy, they can have him being one of the better centers in the league. And I mean, look, I know it's been a little while at this point, and his extension will be this offseason with Wendell, and my guess is maybe $15 million a year or whatever. I just got sidetracked a little bit there. I was going to say, it's been a minute, but when he came into the league, the talk with him was, this guy can be the heart of a very good defense. So if he can, then okay. And you got yourself 2 picks. Now, there's also going to be like a little teeny thing about what happens to Mo Bamba now. I mean, Mo's just probably out. Wendell is better than Mo Bamba. We'll see if they get something for him. I don't know. But if we're thinking about the future of the Orlando Magic now, it's Wendell at the 5. It's Isaac at the 4. My assumption is that Fournier and Gordon are going to be gone by the end of today or by the end of the offseason at least. Terrence Ross might still be around. You got these sets of point guards, and then it's whoever they draft this offseason, and then they got these couple extra Bulls picks. And in the case of the Bulls, they made themselves better, and they're making a push. And it's not always a bad thing to make a push. I mean, we love draft picks and all that. I get it. There's definitely a way you can go overboard with trading picks. Again, we're going to have to see the protections on this stuff, but the Bulls are 19 and 24, so you make a move like this, you're going to have to see an instant turnaround, and there's reason to believe so, especially on offense, that they can do it. So, yeah,